Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jenna Flanagan. Talk of a resistance within the White House. In a recent bombshell New York Times op-ed essay, an anonymous senior White House administration official called into question President Trump's judgment and suggested aides have discussed ways to remove him from office. In the op-ed titled, "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration," the anonymous source writes, quote, "To be clear, ours is not a popular resistance of the left. We want the administration to succeed and think that many of its policies have already made America safer and more prosperous. But we believe our first duty is to this country, and the president continues to act in a manner that is detrimental to the health of our republic," end quote. President Trump quickly lashed out, dismissing the op-ed as really a disgrace and gutless, assailing the author and the New York Times for publishing the anonymous op-ed.
If the failing New York Times has an anonymous editorial, can you believe it? Anonymous, meaning gutless, a gutless editorial.
In a tweet, Trump went further and simply asked, "Treason?" If the gutless anonymous person does indeed exist, the Times must, for national security purposes, turn him or her over to government at once. Now, the guessing game begins with presidential historian and editor of the History News Network at George Washington University, Rick Shankman. Rick, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here.
So first off, we just have to start with, is there any historical precedent for the article that we've just seen?
In a word, no. And the reason is we've just never had a president like Donald Trump, so we've never had officials second-guessing him in the way that this official is apparently doing so. I have studied all the presidents in my research career, and there's nothing like this. We have basically a mad king who's in charge of the White House, who's got his finger on the nuclear codes. And this has put his officials in a terrible, terrible dilemma. They want to be loyal. They presumably admire something about him, otherwise they wouldn't have taken the job. And they probably share some of his goals as Republican Party officials. But when the king begins to act like a mad king, then they're put in this terrible position of weighing loyalty to the mad king or loyalty to the country. And the result is that we have a lot of officials who apparently are feeling very disloyal right now. They're loyal to the country, but they're disloyal to the president.
Well, we've seen numerous instances of, first of all, this seems to be an incredibly leaky West Wing. And we've seen numerous instances of either books, Fire and Fury was released earlier this year. Regardless of what people may think of her, Omarosa has said some numerous things in her own book. Now we have this book from Bob Woodward that's also saying similar things. And then this op-ed comes out. So I'm wondering, does all of this point to the fact that there may possibly be some sort of slow-moving coup behind the scenes when you have officials who are actively saying we are dismissing what our commander-in-chief says?
Well, it's interesting. When Trump was elected, I remember writing on a blog post that my real hope here is that the adults in the room will resist what the president says if he issues some crazy order. Suppose he told Mattis over in the Defense Department, "I want you to begin a war with Syria and start lobbing missiles over there, maybe drop some nuclear bombs." You remember Trump has talked carelessly about using nuclear bombs, and he asked his officials after he became president, "How come we don't use these things if we've got them?" Well, suppose he issued that kind of an order. And what I wrote in my blog post was, well, then I would want them to disobey a president's order, which would in effect be a coup d'etat, because now you're talking about the military doing what they want to do. And that's such at variance with American tradition and what we all think should be going on. We want civilian control of the government, not the military controlling the government. But in that kind of a case, I would want the military to do something. I would want them to resist. Or I'd want them to leak to members of the Senate and the Congress what was going on behind the scenes, or write an op-ed that shows up on the op-ed page of the New York Times.
Well, while this op-ed has shown up, what I will say is that, as I alluded to, with all these previous books and all of these previous leaks that we've seen, nothing changes. He remains in charge. Nobody has taken any steps to attempt to remove this president. So does this make any difference?
Well, nothing's going to happen until the elections. The Republican Party is going to stick with Donald Trump until the election. After the election, if it turns out that they lose in a massive blue wave, then you're going to see some changes because the Republican officials aren't going to want to go down with the ship. This is what happened with Nixon. The Republicans turned against Nixon finally in the spring of 1974 when they saw that he had lost public support. And at the next election, they didn't want to be the ones who wound up taking the fall for his mistakes. So nothing's going to happen between now and the election in some 60 days.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much. We, of course, would love to have you back as this continues to develop. We shall see what happens. But I guess the big thing is to wait for November.
That's going to be the make or break point for the Trump White House. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.